G'day guys, Solid here and welcome back to a flash update. And in today's video, we're talking about the brand new Suzuki V-Strom 800DE, which has the potential to be the most off-road capable V-Strom that Suzuki has ever made. But who's it for and will it be any good? Let's try and find out. It's a bigger capacity parallel twin V-Strom. Does that now make it the P-Strom instead of the V-Strom? I'll let you decide. It's 776 cc's and it makes a respectable amount of power. We're talking smidge over 84 horsepower and 54.5 foot-pound of torque. To appease those who are frustrated at the loss of the V-twin, we are now getting the parallel twin, but it is a 270-degree crank, which will mimic a lot of the characteristics of the V-twin. They sound fantastic. They have plenty of bottom end torque as well, so it should keep most of us happy. And the big one for me is the weight. Coming in at 230 kilos wet, or that's just about 507 pounds. That's definitely into flagship territory. So that puts the weight of the V-Strom into perspective, that this isn't going to be a lighter adventure bike. And I struggle even calling the Terere 700 or the Transalp 750 light. They're still 200 plus kilos, but they're only just. So this V-Strom has quite a deficit to the two. Now, some of that can be accounted to the fact that this has a 20-litre petrol tank. So you're getting 3 or so litres over the other two, but that doesn't account for all the weight on the bike. The next thing that is an interesting decision is that we do have the 21-inch front wheel, but we've got a 17-inch rear wheel, which is a little more road biased than what is usually put on the real off-road ready bikes, which is an 18. If we triangulate those three details, that is the big tank, the 230 kilos and the more road biased rear wheel, I think what Suzuki have done here is offered us more of an adventure tourer than what is compared to the Transalp 750 and the Terere 700. Seat height is 855 millimeters, but like most adventure bikes these days, I wouldn't be surprised if they have a lower seat option or some way of lowering the seat. Now, what is really interesting here, I think, is the suspension setup on the V-Strom 800DE. There's shower forks and you have 220 millimeters of travel. That's more than the Terere 700, and that is also more than the Transalp 750. And on top of that, it outdoes the Transalp by being fully adjustable as well. And it leads to 220 millimeters of clearance, which is 10 mil over the Honda Transalp 750. And let's face it, at this price point where Suzuki, the Transalp and the Terere are likely going to be sitting, fully adjustable suspension is a really nice thing to have. Now, unfortunately, like the Transalp 750, it does run a tube system, so a little disappointment there. Suzuki provides you with 3 separate power output options for the motorcycle. It's got active, comfort, and basic. Of course, like all the bikes in the middleweight adventure segment, it's going to come with traction control, and there's 5 separate traction control levels, going from 1 to 5 with how extreme you want the computer and all the technology to help you go along the road. We also get a quick shifter system up and down. The other thing here is the ABS. Now, it cannot be completely switched off, so it's like my CRF 300L here, in that for the dirt you can switch it off for the rear, but the ABS stays on for the front. As long as the back is deactivated in my books, that's what I'm happy about. Now, like the Honda, the Suzuki has ride-by-wire throttle, so that means it can have cruise control, but it's not listed in any of the material. It could be because they don't think it's important, or they're just going to leave it as an accessory on the list for when you purchase the bike, or maybe they'll announce it later on a more premium model. At this point, I don't have too much information. And one little feature that may seem like a silly thing to point out, but I actually quite liked, is the fact that this V-Strom 800DE has a detachable subframe. Suzuki have not either revealed the price or when it's going to be available, which is always super frustrating. I would guess this will be in the ballpark of the Terere 700 and the Transalp 750. I would think, knowing Suzuki, that they might undercut it a little bit. It will really be interesting to see the pricing scale here, what the Transalp goes for, what Suzuki decide to go with here. I would like to see a reinvigoration of companies offering us value for money. So Suzuki, if you're watching this, please make it affordable for the everyman adventure rider.
This is lit.
Now with that fully adjustable suspension and better ground clearance than the Transalp 750, this potentially has the chance to be the most confident off-road adventure bike that Suzuki have made in their V-Strom range. But I think this has more attributes that make it far better as an adventure tourer. That big tank will be able to get you further than the other two bikes. That extra weight will come in handy when you're out on the open road and you're stuck in a crosswind, and as well we've got a 17-inch wheel on the rear. If I had the choice between the V-Strom 800DE, the Honda Transalp 750 and the Yamaha Tenere 700, I'd be going for the V-Strom 800DE. Now you're probably looking at me like, why the hell Solid? You're an off-road guy, you love lightweight. What I'm looking for in a big bike is comfort, being able to put the wife on the back, as well as doing long distance, sometimes a lot of it being on the road. And I'm really looking for more of a competent adventure tourer that doesn't break the bank. It also looks a whole lot better in my eyes. It's got that DR big look to it as well, that pseudo retro styling. It's not to say that the Transalp 750 isn't an amazing bike, especially if you want a competitor to the Tenere 700. I'd love to know your thoughts though. Are you happy with the direction Suzuki's gone with this 800DE? Are you disappointed? Will you be getting the Transalp or the V-Strom? Let me know down in the comment section below. See you in the next one real soon.